A 22-minute video about current Ebola epidemic, history, and good practices is presented by Team Tectonics as part of FLL's world-class project. This is part 1 of a 2-part series.
Hi, I'm William, but you can call me Bill. These are my friends Andy, Allison, and Julia. We are here to talk about Ebola.
Dude, I read that Ebola and Marburg hemorrhagic fevers are diseases that often lead to severe illness and death in both humans and other primates. They are caused by filoviruses.
So wait, what are filoviruses, and how are they transmitted to humans?
Filoviruses are from the family Filoviridae. They are believed to be zoonotic, meaning that they are transmitted to humans by animals. We believe that bats host these viruses.
Is that why bush meat is banned from being eaten in Africa?
Yes. Because bush meat is meat from wild animals, there is a risk of the meat having Ebola on them. Talking of Ebola, how many species of this virus have been discovered?
I think there were 5 virus types discovered. They are Ebola Zaire, Ebola Sudan, Ebola Ivory Coast, Ebola Bundibugyo, and Ebola Reston. The 5th one is only found in animals.
Okay, I get about zoonotic diseases. But how does the virus spread from person to person?
I remember reading this in the local newspaper. It said that Ebola spreads through bodily fluids such as sweat and urine. That means that Ebola is not an airborne virus.
Okay, so if Ebola is spread through bodily fluids, then how come some U.S. healthcare workers were infected a few months ago?
Thank goodness I listened to the news. I saw that they were infected because of nosocomial transmission. This means that the nurses did not have adequate protection from the virus.
Hey guys. I just remembered that the MHF disease was recognized before Ebola was.
Can you elaborate further, Andy?
I'll explain to you. Let's go to the local museum.
Hello viewers. Are you enjoying the video so far? Then why not publicly show how excited you are by subscribing to Team Tectonics on YouTube? Our team works hard to make these videos to inform the public about current hot topics. We will continue to release new and informative videos only if you sign up.
I sure hope you know how to drive this thing. Julia is freaking out back here. I tell you, she needs to calm down sometimes.
Shut up, Allison. I'm just scared that Andy is driving the car, okay?
Don't worry guys. I've got this under control. I just got my learner's permit 2 weeks ago.
And you always started driving anyways. How did the DMV not fail you, Andy?
Wow, you suck Bill. I'd like to see you get your license anytime soon. You failed your driving test 3 times, for Pete's sake.
Guys, stop fighting. The museum is right there.
Phew. Finally we stopped driving.
Oh come on. Is it possible for anyone to stop criticizing the way I drive and about my competence?
I'll give you some words of encouragement, Andy.
Seriously? Tell me, Allison. What are your words of encouragement?
You have the capability to drive a little better than now, but good job anyways.
Ha ha ha! Nice one, Allison!
Ugh. Whatever. Let's just go inside. As you can see up there, those were 4 scientists who contributed to the discovery of MHF.
Oh. So if those were scientists who helped discover the MHF virus, then where and when did they do it?
MHF was discovered in 1967 in Germany and Yugoslavia. There, some lab workers developed an illness after handling green monkeys.
You! Green monkeys are disgusting. Is that even a thing?
Calm down, Allison. They're not that bad. Their skin is actually golden with a hint of green. There's nothing to be scared about.
Anyway, the scientists named the virus Marburg hemorrhagic fevers, after the city of Marburg, where it was discovered originally.
Wait, So if MHF was discovered in 1967, then when was Ebola recognized and how?
The story of Ebola is not over yet. Those who lived in 1967 thought that it was over. But 11 years later, 2 huge outbreaks in northern Zaire will kill hundreds of humans.
Does anyone know what that picture is about?
That is a picture of the early stages of Ebola inside a kidney cell. You could say that it is similar to the early stages of a baby.
So when was Ebola first recognized, Andy?
It was recognized in 1978 when 2 huge outbreaks of MHF occurred in Zaire in Sudan. The name comes from the Ebola River. Zaire is now called the Democratic Republic of Congo.
So, how deadly was Ebola at the time?
I think I read somewhere that 99% of the cases in the DRC were fatal, and around 50% in Sudan were lethal.
Now to the current Ebola outbreak of 2014. There have been 19,500 cases reported, with about 12,400 laboratory confirmed. Over 7,500 people have died of Ebola, right?
They even have a picture of those who died in 1976. How did they recover it from so long ago?
Haven't these unnerving facts led to several public health measures to spread Ebola and to cure those who contracted it?
Exactly. Many volunteer health organizations such as Doctors Without Borders, and even the U.S. military have courageously gone to Africa to help eradicate the virus.
William, can you please get up? Are you feeling bad about us getting mad at you?
No, I'm not sad about that. I'm sad because I just realized that Andy drove the car and ran over a cat once.
Hey viewers. Please like this video so that I can throw eggs at these people. Moving on, let's go to the technology exhibit. There, you will see how 2 brothers build an app to help fight Ebola.
Hello viewers. We've all seen how tragic and shocking the Ebola outbreak in West Africa is. It is very difficult to find a cure to Ebola and it costs lots of time and money. That is why we need your help. Ebola Care is a non-profit organization that aspires to eradicate Ebola from West Africa. If you would like to go and help, then call 240-340 HELP. Thank you for your time and attention. Please help us fight Ebola and triumph over the virus.
Hey Andy, who are these 2 people, and why are they famous?
These 2 people are Philip and Malin Albert, from South Africa. These brothers worked together to develop an Ebola app.
All I've heard about this is that it is for Android. But what does the Ebola Care app do, and how does it help the Ebola patients?
I read on the CNN website that it's designed to help healthcare workers in the affected region to contact trace, collect data, locate resources, and coordinate with ambulance teams.
Doesn't it also help care for children who have been abandoned after their parents contracted Ebola?
Right on, Allison. The app does help care for abandoned children whose parents have Ebola. Moving on, does anyone want to know how the app works?
I want to learn how it works, Andy.
Me too, Andy.
Me 3, Andy.
Okay then, here is how the app works. It uses the phone's GPS to locate the precise location of a patient and the phone's camera to photograph the patient.
That's so cool. Can it also store data on the phone?
Exactly, Julia. The data is stored on the phone until the Wi-Fi network can be reached. It is then transmitted to cloud servers so that other healthcare workers can access it.
In fact, Harvard School of Public Health epidemiologist Caroline Bucky is using self-owned data in West Africa to predict where the disease might migrate.
Wow, seriously? I would have never guessed that an epidemiologist would use an app that 2 brothers made. That's incredible.
On the topic of migrating diseases, what about the concern that the Ebola disease will spread to the U.S. through healthcare workers and those who travel to West Africa?
There have actually been cases where some U.S. citizens were infected with Ebola.
Guys, look over there. There is an exhibit about the U.S. Ebola cases.
Hey, cool. Let's go over there and check it out.
CNN reported on December 21, 2014 that there have been 4 Ebola cases on U.S. soil with 2 deaths. 2 originated in the U.S., 1 in Liberia, and another in Guinea.
Hey Andy, I understood that part, but could you give a rundown on the Ebola patients, please?
No problem. It all started this summer when 2 returning healthcare workers, Kent Brantley and Nancy Wrightbull, were released from the Emory Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Then, an NBC freelance cameraman Ashika Mukpo returned from Liberia and was successfully treated at the Nebraska Medical Center. He was released on October 21, 2014.
Wait a minute, Andy. Wasn't the first diagnosed case in the U.S. Thomas Eric Duncan?
Exactly. Thomas Eric Duncan was hospitalized at the Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital on September 29, 2014. Unfortunately, he died on October 8, 2014. Come on guys. Cheer up, it's okay. You have to remember that it is very hard to find a cure for this virus.
Sorry about that, Andy. It just touched my heart, you know.
I also felt very bad about his death, Bill.
Yeah, I felt bad as well.
I bet these next 2 stories will cheer you guys up.
Whoa. Seriously, Andy? We'd love to hear them.
One of the nurses who cared for Duncan was Nina Pham. She was the first one to contract Ebola on the U.S. soil. She was successfully treated and released from NIH on October 21.
Yay. It's amazing that scientists can triumph over Ebola and cure those who are infected by it.
Julia, can you stop the sarcasm in your voice, please?
You hypocrite. You also do it, and so does Andy.
Can you please leave me out of this, Julia? I have nothing to do with your conversation with Allison.
Can you guys stop fighting about sarcasm? We are in a public place. We can talk about this later.
You're right, Bill. Now where was I? Oh right, I will now tell you guys about the second person who got Ebola. A second Dallas nurse, Amber Vinson, who also treated Duncan, was diagnosed with Ebola a few days later. Amber was treated at an Atlanta hospital and was released on October 28.
So how did these 2 cases of Ebola arise? National outcry.
I believe I read somewhere that the unchecked airline travel of these patients led to Ebola entering the U.S. This is why the CDC took action.
Exactly. The CDC strengthened their guidelines on October 20, 2014 on how to use PPE while treating Ebola patients and on safe airline travel and airport security.
I heard on the news that Craig Spencer, a 33-year-old doctor who returned from Guinea, tested positive for Ebola, and was treated at Bellevue Hospital and released on November 11th.
Oh yeah. There was also a Maine nurse who treated patients in Sierra Leone. Her name was Cassie Hickox, and she fought the 21-day quarantine in New Jersey and Maine on November 8th.
Wait. Didn't Casey's public defiance of the quarantine orders draw national attention?
Yep. The defiance drew attention to the battle between states seeking to impose strict rules on healthcare workers returning from Africa, and the civil liberties of these workers.
The court ruled that the quarantine was harsh and that Casey should self-monitor herself for 21 days.
Wow. That was pretty intense how a nurse criticized the New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and won a court case.
I also heard that the doctor from Sierra Leone, Dr. Martin Salalia, arrived at Nebraska Medical Center on November 15, 2014 infected with Ebola but died 2 days later.
Finally, on December 24, 2014, the CDC announced that a technician, who was possibly infected due to poor laboratory practices, will be monitored for 21 days.
Hey Andy, you mentioned PPEs and about laboratory practices. What are PPEs and how can healthcare workers practice good hygiene when caring for Ebola patients?
Come, let's go to the exhibit on PPEs. This exhibit is about the proper guidelines to put on PPE, or personal protective equipment, OMG. Where did these lunatics go? What are you guys doing? We are supposed to be learning about Ebola, not go gift shopping.
Oh, hi Andy. I just got carried away by the sales on these precious gifts.
Yeah, me too. Hey look, I saw some video games that are 15% off. Andy, isn't that cool?
Okay. First of all, you are acting like you've never seen any 15% off sales before. Second, no, it isn't that cool anyways. Third, tell Juliet to stop being mesmerized by the diamond.
Dude, can you shut up? I have a right to love things, okay?
Julia, I am not questioning that. I'm just saying that we are here to learn more about Ebola. We can visit the gift shop later.
Hey guys, Andy's right. Why are we in the gift shop now when we should be learning about Ebola? Let's go to the exhibit Andy was showing us.
Thanks, Bill. So anyways, this is the exhibit about how to put on PPE and how to take them off.
Hey Andy, could you explain each step in more detail than this poster does?
No problem, Julia. Let's see here. Putting on PPE. Step 1, the gown. The gown should cover the torso from neck to knees, arms to ends of wrists, and wrap around the back.
Wait a minute. What is a gown and why is it used when treating Ebola patients, Andy?
A gown is
It's a long cloth that goes down to the feet. It is needed to protect the worker from contracting the virus should the patient sneeze or vomit on the worker, right?
I believe that I asked Andy that question, Julia.
Whatever, Allison. I just didn't want to feel like the stupid one, okay?
Is it just me, or are people more interested in arguing rather than learning about something cool?
No. We are all interested in learning about this, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, me too.
Okay then. So Julia basically explained what a gown is correctly, I guess. Anyway, step 2 is the mask and respirator.
Wow. So how are healthcare workers supposed to put the masks on?
I'll tell you, Bill. Secure the mask at the middle of the head and neck using ties or elastic bands. Fit flexible bands to nose bridge. It should be snug to the face.
I can see how the CDC made these rules so important. What's next?
It says on the wall that the third step is to put on goggles or face shield.
Exactly, Bill. When one puts on a face shield, he or she should place over face and eyes and adjust to fit snugly as shown above. Oh, excuse me guys. I need to use the restroom. Be right back. Hey. Stop getting excited about this. Oh gosh.
Whoa. I need to use this time to get up to speed.
Yeah, I feel so free that I feel like dancing down the hall.
Julia, look at this. Step 4 for putting on PPE is to extend them to cover rest of isolation gown.
I think that these steps are to use safe work practices to protect someone and limit the spread of contamination. Additional best practices include keeping hands away from face.
But how are healthcare workers supposed to take off the PPE after treating the patient?
Phew. Sorry guys, I really needed to use the bathroom. The line was huge, though.
Don't even ask. I'll tell you. Bill is not here with us because he felt like dancing throughout the museum.
Did you seriously have to go up and tell Andy that?
Don't worry, Allison. I knew Bill would do that anyways. I overheard you guys asking about how the workers take off the PPE once the job is done.
Yeah. All we could understand from this is the pictures and the steps. Could you explain to us how healthcare workers should take off PPE?
No problem guys. The first step is to grasp the palm area of the other gloved hand and peel off the first glove. Then, slide the fingers of the ungloved hand under remaining glove.
What about the face shield and goggles?
Remove the goggles and or face shield from the back by lifting headband or earpieces. If the item is reusable, place in designated receptacle for reprocessing.
Oh boy, that was amazing. I had the rush of dancing for 10 minutes.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. Anyways, the next step is to take off the gown. Unfasten the gown ties, taking care not to let the sleeves contact your body.
But Andy, how are you supposed to remove the gown? Is dexterity needed?
A lot of dexterity is needed. One must pull the gown away from the neck and shoulders, and then turn it inside out.
What's the next step, Andy?
When you take off the mask, grasp the bottom ties or elastics, then the ones at the top, and remove it without touching the front. Discard in an infectious waste container.
At the end, shouldn't healthcare workers wash their hands?
I read about this on the CDC website. It said that one must wash his or her hands or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer immediately after removing all PPE.
Exactly. That's just about it. If healthcare workers follow these guidelines, then we can prevent more outbreaks.
Hey Andy, I also heard about contact tracing. Could you explain that?
Ooh. That's a fascinating topic. Follow me to the contact tracing exhibit.
I don't get this picture. What is it about, Andy?
That is a poster of the contact tracing algorithm. It is used now to help control Ebola outbreaks.
But, Andy, how does the algorithm work?
Okay, once an Ebola patient is treated, doctors will ask about the contacts that have come in direct contact with the patient.
Quick question. Why are you saying direct contact than just contact?
Bill, direct contact is when someone comes in contact with the bodily fluids of another person. That is how Ebola is spread, and not how the flu does.
So Andy, what happens next after the Ebola patient gives a list of the direct contacts?
Once the doctors get a list of the contacts, then they will start to monitor those people to see if they have Ebola symptoms. If some do not, then they won't be monitored.
And what if some do have symptoms?
Then those people will be hospitalized and treated. Here's the best part. The doctors will then start to ask the Ebola patients who they came in direct contact with.
Whoa. That's amazing. With this algorithm, doctors can keep track of all the Ebola patients.
In case of those 2 Dallas nurses who were at large when they were infected, and also that New York doctor, did those people likely spread Ebola before they were secured?
No, they did not spread because they were quickly diagnosed of the symptoms and were quarantined before they became infectious.
Yes. It takes 21 days for someone to become infectious, so someone has to have a high viral load in his or her body before they can infect others. Thus, our visit here is finished.
Wow. I've learned so much about Ebola that I never knew before. Let's go to Pizza Hut and get some food.
Yeah, I'm starving. Let's go outside. And this time, Andy, I'll drive.
I hate you guys so much. Just drive the car, Bill. Thanks for watching the video. Please give us your feedback and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to watch part 2 of this series, which talks about Ebola research.